Hi everybody, it's Tom from FindTheBestCarPrice.com. Should you pay $53,610 for this 2022 Chevrolet Silverado LT? Well, why does it cost what it does? Well, it has a lot of really great features. In fact, it has a couple of features that have not been on some of the 22 model Silverados we've looked at recently here on the Find the Best Car Price YouTube channel. Let's talk about exactly what those features are. One thing about these Chevrolet Silverados is there's a little something for everybody's taste, needs, and or desires when it comes to what's under the hood. You have multiple engine options available. This is the 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. You might think, a 4-cylinder in a Silverado, wow, that's very interesting. Well, here's the comparison between this engine and the 5.3 liter V8, the smallest V8 you can get for this truck. Not that that's small, but the 5.3 is making 355 horsepower. This 2.7 liter is making 310. The torque numbers on the 5.3 are 383. Here on the 2.7, they come in at 348 pounds-feet. This truck has an 8-speed automatic transmission compared to the 10-speed that typically you will find the 5.3 mated to. And what about MPGs? You're looking at 19 and 22 with the 5.3. Here, you're looking at 16 and 21, 16 city, 21 highway. So not huge differences in that respect. And of course, you're going to have all of the other typical features here. You're going to have remote start and all of that good stuff here for the truck. Let me show you what the remote looks like here. We'll just give you a good look at that. Basically, it's the same truck, but there is one thing that this truck has that I want to show you that I haven't seen on an LT before. And before we talk about that feature I just mentioned, maybe you're saying to yourself, hey Tom, why don't you let us hear the exhaust note out of that 2.7 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that's under the hood? Here you go. Obviously, there are multiple ways to open the tailgate here. There's the button right here on the remote. I'll go ahead and use that. You also have the button on the tailgate itself. You also have a button on the interior. But here's the thing that I was talking about that I haven't seen on an LT before. I'm going to raise that tailgate back up. And there is one thing that I want to show you about that remote feature. So we're going to lower it back down. Bear with me here, because there is one thing. I can let go of the button when I'm lowering the tailgate, but when it comes to raising the tailgate, watch what happens if I let go of the button. It comes back down. Just so you know, you have to hold that down to get it to come back up. Now, another question would be, well, with that smaller engine compared to the 6.2 liter or the 5.3, what are the differences? With the 5.3, you can tow 9,900 pounds. Here, there's a 400-pound difference. I don't think that's a huge difference at all. 9,500 pounds. So depending on your situation, I can't imagine that that extra 400 pounds would make that big of a difference, but it might. But just in case you're curious, those are the numbers. You're still going to have all the same configuration of everything, 6 tie downs on each side for a total of 12. So many great options there. You're going to have the power outlet right here. And then obviously your in-bed lighting. You've also got the cab light up there to provide lighting as well. But you've got your in-bed lighting, as you can see right there. In fact, if you're wondering, what does that look like? Well, let me turn on the interior lighting. We're going to push that button right there, and you're going to have a whole lot of lights that come on around this truck. And as you can see right there, I hope you can see that. That's one reason I don't normally turn those on, is because it's so bright out here. It's kind of hard to see, but hopefully that shows up well in the shot. Now, we've looked at a lot of these trucks recently. This LT is going to have the leather seating, and that means without having the cloth seating, that means that you have something we haven't seen on a lot of these LTs, the in-seat storage here in the rear seat area. You can raise the seats themselves if you need to, and then you do have the in-seat storage on both sides, connectivity, and you also have the air conditioning vents down there on the lower portion of the rear of the console. And then everything else, again, pretty much the same as what we've looked at here as far as the changes go with the bezels around the instrument cluster, or that digital instrument cluster, and the rest of the dashboard there, the 13.2-inch screen, the 13.4-inch touchscreen. And then as I start the truck, we've covered in depth on recent videos everything that you have here as far as the truck goes and what's changed. But here's something that's really cool. In fact, you may already see it. Normally, what we've seen in every single truck we've done, whether it's been the GMCs or the Chevrolets, is you have the center console mounted shifter right here. Well, guess what? For those of you who are not fans of that and you're saying, man, I'd rather have a column shifter, you still have it right here. The good old-fashioned, belongs in a truck column shifter. I like that a lot, but that's not it. If you need an extra seat, guess what? You've got it here. Something we don't see very often in a lot of truck makers' trucks in this day and age. And so you have that, and you still have the functionality of a typical center console. It's not quite as big, but as you can see, you do have a decent amount of storage in there. You also got your cup holders here and some extra storage also. And the good thing about this truck is that obviously it has cameras everywhere. You can go into reverse and see the cameras, or, well, let's do this. We're going to go into drive and notice how that changes to the front camera. That's right, you have a front camera here. And so you can also go in right here and see those cameras as well. Now, if that camera was dirty right now, guess what I can do? I can run the front camera washer. And all I did to do that is push the button right here to run the windshield washer fluid. So every time you run your windshield washer fluid to clean off your windshield, well, that's happening down there as well, whether you see it or not. It doesn't have to be up on the screen to do this, that's for sure. And we'll just take a quick look around the truck just so you can see the multiple camera views that you have here for a little over $53,000. Really not too bad. I mean, I think you're getting quite a bit for that price, but obviously you as the consumer will have to make the ultimate decision on that. There's that third option for lowering and raising on this particular truck. And then you have Google Assistant. You can ask her just about anything, and she won't do everything. She won't lower your tailgate for you, in case you're curious about that. But she will do things like this. If you are having a bad day and you need to laugh, try this out. Hey, Google, tell me a joke.
Did you hear about the snowman that got upset when the sun came out? He had a total meltdown.
Isn't that the best way to end that joke? Yeah, that kind of was deserving there. But you can also ask a lot of other things. You can ask questions like this, even though it's right there on the dashboard. But if you wanted to know and you're just driving down the road, you can ask how much mileage you can drive, how far you can drive. Let's do that. Hey, Google, how much gas do I have left?
Your gas tank is at 30% capacity, so you can drive for about 126 miles.
And you know what? Speaking of that, with this unique 2.7 liter turbocharged four-cylinder under the hood of this truck, what is it like to drive? Let's get out on the road and find out. One more thing before we get out on the road. I don't know how well my lapel mic picked up the chime, the audible chime, when I was lowering and raising the tailgate from outside earlier, but you'll get to hear what goes on in the interior with the button right here. Let's push it and find out what it sounds like. And let's see, maybe I can give you a good view here. I don't know how well you can see that. I don't think that the camera is going to pick it up very well, but I'm going to push it again and let it come back up. Now keep in mind, guys, you do have to hold that button down the same way that you do on the remote to have the tailgate come back up. And when it beeps twice like that, you know that it's back in place. All right, we're out on the road for our test drive, and I'm just gonna let you listen, and hopefully you get a good earful here. I'll tell you what, I don't know how that sounded off of my lapel mic. Hopefully it did it justice, But I'm going to tell you something. I have to slow down because I'm driving over the speed limit beyond what I should be. This motor at 310 horsepower, it has a lot of torque. It's going to get you down the road, no problem. It's got the horsepower and the torque to get you there and to keep you there. I'm really impressed with what this truck does driving down the road. It's really not a big difference, in my personal opinion, between this and then really the next step up, the 5.3 liter V8. There are other motor options. Obviously, you've got that 3 liter diesel engine option available. I haven't seen one of those in quite a while, but we have featured one before in the past, but just haven't seen one lately. But I'm curious to know what you think down in the comments section about this particular truck with this engine in it. The difference in gas mileage, well, there's a little bit of a difference, but there's not that big of a difference between towing between this and the 5.8 liter. And obviously there are other engine options that we could compare to, but we're not going to take time to compare that many today. Maybe we'll do that in a future video at some point. But I'll tell you what, getting down the road with this truck, with this engine under the hood, is absolutely no problem. I can't really tell the difference. I'm already driving pretty fast, but let's drop the hammer and just see what it's like. Yeah, it gets down the road, no problem. I'm not really pushing it all that hard. I'm also not driving in sport mode at the moment, but I guess I could do that and just see what the difference is. Let's try now. Yeah, I can tell a little bit of a difference there. Obviously, RPMs are going to climb faster than they would otherwise. So let me get back down here on the speed a little bit because it definitely got up there pretty good without any trouble. Don't want to get a ticket. That's something we don't need to be doing in our videos, right? So if I was going to buy a Chevrolet Silverado, would I recommend, or even consider, I should say, buying one of these trucks with this motor in it? Well, it's going to depend, obviously, on your needs. But if you are going to be towing, like I said earlier in the video, there's only a 400-pound difference. That's not a big difference when you're towing a trailer between 9,500 and 9,900 pounds if you're going to compare this to the 5.3 liter V8. I don't really think it's a problem. I don't think it's going to let you down. It has decent gas mileage. It has a unique sound. It really is kind of unusual to drive around in one of these trucks and hear the sound of a four-cylinder, but yet it's getting you down the road, no problem. Everything easy to use here as well. I like the fact that you have Google Assistant to help you out, and she'll let you know if you ask a question that she can't help you with or can't answer, whatever the case is. Like I said earlier, I just tried it out. Asked her if she could open the tailgate because I was curious to know if she could. Well, apparently that's not something programmed in because, well, she said she couldn't help me with that. So, but it's a real simple system to learn and use. It just makes everything so easy. And like I said, you can use Google Maps within the infotainment system here itself on this truck without pairing your phone. It's really great. Chevrolet has really stepped up their game in a big way, I believe, in technology. Not that they were hurting in the past, but I like the fact that they improved really more beyond what they probably needed to. I think that's a home run. This truck is a winner, in my opinion, no matter which engine you choose to put under the hood.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any vehicle you may be interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.